Good times and great music at 2 when you are FM 103.7. We've got to miss him over the last couple of months because he's dividing his time all over the place now, and at least part of that time still happens to be in Newcastle. The Hunter, University of Newcastle's Professor of Education, John Fischetti. John, always a pleasure to see you.
Good morning,
We have
Mark.
missed you over the last while.
Yeah, I miss you. Great to see you. Lots happening in the education sector, but I hope you're going well.
Well, we're going well here, and once we're done here, we'll have a look at. We'll discuss some movies that have been around at the moment, which is usually our debrief afterwards. But there is a lot going at the moment, and of course, the new academic year, all of the pressures in inverted commas that sort of flow down, and a whole lot of kids are back into the swing of it by now. And of course, that means a chance for parents to sort of help out.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you heard yesterday an announcement that some of the NAPLAN scores in the early years are going to be released a little earlier this year to give teachers and schools a chance to help maybe make some modifications this year. Wouldn't it be great if you took the test, results came back, and you did something with them? Imagine if you went to the doctor and they say, oh, you have high blood pressure, we'll do something about it next year. So that's the good news. However, a lot of the solutions that parents, grandparents, maybe some aunts and uncles are looking for seem to be academic. And I'm going to give you 4. I've been spending time in this rekindled role as professor of education, reading a lot about what families can do to support their children. And I think our listeners who are having a good day listening to the music on 2NUR also want to know, how do I help my kids? Some families are overcooking it now. So let me give you 4 things that families can do. And these are non-academic, but they actually raise the bar academically. And we've talked about these over the years, but I've got them to a nutshell.
Which is pretty good because at the end of the day, it might have been a long while since any of us had to sort of get into the school book. So helping at that end might not necessarily be our number one way. But if there are these other ways peripherally around the edges we can help, that'll soften the blow a bit.
I think the solution a lot of families with some resources have is, I'm going to get my child a tutor. They must be a little behind. And that's not a bad idea. A tutor can always help. But that's not where I'd start. The first thing is, and this generation that spent a couple of years at home and Zoom school and all the things we were doing, a kid in year 4 missed 2 years of their early development in kindy and year 1. They got to be moving. The single biggest thing that can help the neural connections in the frontal cortex of the brain connect, those synapses we talked 100 times about, to talk to one another, is movement. That movement makes those electrical impulses connect. It grows new cells and it creates a positive attitude. We've got a lot of kids sitting around. They sit all day, and only about 1/3 are in any formal sport or other activity with movement. So if your child's coming home from school and the television's on or on their screens, or they're playing games, or they're sitting around, you've got to build in movement. Number 1, it's for all of us, but for particularly young children when everything's still possible.
Yeah, and like you said, as soon as you mentioned that, I thought that really is one for everybody. So get out and keep moving, get the brain, a great way to keep the brain wired up and heading in the right direction.
And a great way around the Newcastle area and the Hunter, there's 14 park runs. And that doesn't mean you have to run. On a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, get your barcode, go to the website at parkrun.com.au, walk. And then on a Tuesday night, you go, oh, I better walk again because I didn't do that lately. There's no need to worry about the time. It's more getting a family together and going out. The second one, no surprise to you, is children's diets now have become fake food. And in addition to the movement, the energy that you're creating is coming from what you're taking in. A lot of kids are missing breakfast. They're running late in the mornings. It's tired time of year, all this dark and all that. You got to have a good breakfast, but you're going to have to eat the right food. Prices have meant families are sacrificing quality for price. And the fast food joints are really fast. But if you really look at the ingredients and what they are, there are lots of salt, lots of fat, and unfortunately what children don't need. And that's the fakeness of it. Let's get real food, have them help prepare it so that it gives them something to do as well. That gets a little movement in there too.
And the other thing too with that, you notice that a lot of times that a lot of the fast food is, while economically, time-wise, it's not sort of cheap anymore either.
Oh, no, it is.
We've been hoodwinked on convenience.
Yeah, exactly right. The third is related to sleep. And I don't know your situation now, Mark, with sleeping, but for young children, they need 8 to 10 hours. And even if technically they're in sleep, if they've gone to bed watching their screens too soon before they go to sleep, they're not getting to REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep, early enough, or maybe not at all. Sleep is where our brains purge sort of the poison of our ill thoughts, where brain connections are remade and where a sort of fresh start literally occurs. So if you're going to bed having just watched some violent show or gaming thing or just with all those lights flashing, you're not going to sleep. At least a half an hour, 45 minutes. Turn it off, get it out of the bedroom. Kids from 12 years up now are having their laptops on. Their mom thinks they're asleep. Now they're online. They're talking to their friends. Get it out. Let sleep happen. Try a new pillow if they've been complaining about some neck or shoulder injuries. The bed might be okay, but the pillow, as they grow, might just need another configuration. Those simple things, if you get your kids sleeping better, they're also not as grumpy. Get grumpy kids not grumpy is a really good thing for the whole family.
I'm not sure if you're talking to kids or you're talking directly to me today with all this. What was that on sleep? Sleep purges
like the poisons in the brain.
Poisons of our bad thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah, love that one. And number 4?
Well, the fourth one is how to de-stress. A lot of families going through a lot of stresses trying to make ends meet. The conversations at the home are stressful. A lot of relationships are stressed. Actually, the divorce rate's up in Australia as it is around the Western world. Relationships not going well. The kids are hearing a lot of angst. Teachers aren't necessarily as happy. Let's take that away. We got to bring joy and opportunity, and every day creates an opportunity for us to be happy. We've got to get the stress out. Kids shouldn't be stressing about all the little things. Now, if you're moving, if you're eating, and you're sleeping, you'll be a little less stressed. Mm-hmm. But let's take the burdens off of the children so that they don't have to feel the economic pressures maybe families are facing. The stress component can trigger then long-term issues around your heart and other things which we don't want our kids having to deal with. There are some cardiologists and cardiological GPs in the Hunter region telling me from the conversations I've had that they're seeing young children with stress-related heart disease forming as early as 9 years old. So we've got to kind of take, if we're really worried, our children mirror that and they personify it. Those 4 things, if we can help with, the academics will come right behind it. They probably need to go to school too.
Yeah, and like you said, those first 3 points will kind of at least shave a little bit off the 4th one also. All right, John, that's a bit for us to take in for, well, kind of the start of the year, even when they were in March. But as always, a pleasure. We'll talk to you next time, whenever next time happens to be.
Thanks, Mark.
There he is, Professor of Education from the University of Newcastle, John Fischetti on 2NURFM 103.7.
A broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.